Be Me, 26, logistics coordinator by day, moss-obsessed swamp druid by night, living in an apartment filled with more glass jars than human furniture. Sister calls me for the third time today to complain about my lifestyle. She tells me I am turning into a literal hermit crab, says I need to meet a real human woman before I start communicating via spores. I tell her the ferns understand me better than people do. She threatens to come over and bleach my favorite terrarium if I don't download a dating app. Absolute emotional blackmail. I cave and download the digital hellscape just to shut her up. Decide to be brutally honest to scare away the normal people. Profile picture is me holding a rare fern, like it is my firstborn child. Bio mentions a preference for high humidity over small talk. Start swiping through an endless sea of hiking photos and fake astrology girls. My thumb is getting a workout from all the left swipes. Suddenly see a girl with neon green hair and a shirt that says lamps are just spicy fireflies. Her name is Riley. Profile says she restores cursed vintage lamps and listens to 90s dungeon synth. My heart skips a beat in a very uncharacteristic way. She looks like she could fix a circuit board and then hex my enemies. Highly competent energy radiating from the screen. I am physically intimidated by a JPEG. I swipe right out of pure, unadulterated respect. Match notification pops up immediately. My soul tries to uninstall itself from my body. I send the first message asking if she prefers incandescent or LED for her cursed objects. She replies within seconds saying, LEDs are for cowards who fear the heat of a real haunting. I tell her I only use filtered rainwater for my moss because tap water is too mainstream. The banter is immediately legendary. She asks if I have a favorite type of obscure liverwort. I tell her I am a Basania trilobata purist. She says that is the most unhinged thing she has heard all day. I tell her it is a lifestyle choice, not a hobby. She sends back a photo of a lamp that looks like it was salvaged from a Victorian asylum. I am staring at my phone like it is a holy relic. Actually found someone with my exact brand of unhinged autism. We spend 4 hours arguing about the structural integrity of 1970s glass. I realize I have not checked on my ferns in 3 hours. The swamp druid has been compromised. I am sweating while trying to type a response that doesn't sound like a bug report. My sister is going to be so smug about this. But for now, I am just trying to keep up with the neon-haired lamp gremlin. 3 days pass in a blur of blue light and moss facts. I haven't slept more than 4 hours a night. Logistics work is just a distraction from the lamp gremlin. She sends a dissertation on why certain moss is overrated. I counter with a thesis on moisture retention. You are just a dirt-worshipping nerd, she types. At least my hobby doesn't involve electrical hazards, I fire back. The banter is electric. I am finishing a project. Give me your expert opinion, she says. My phone pings with an image file. It is a brass lamp with stained glass like a dragon's eye. Genuinely impressive craftsmanship. But my eyes drift to the background of the shot. A patch of fabric catches the light. It is a specific shade of violently aggressive pink, a hue that should not exist in any civilized society. My heart rate spikes. I recognize that couch. It is the magenta menace my sister bought on clearance, the one she refuses to get rid of despite the literal eye strain. I tell myself it is just a coincidence. Cheap furniture is common. I zoom in on the top right corner of the frame. Sitting on the armrest is a creature of pure nightmare fuel, a wrinkled gray hairless mass of skin. It is Barnaby, my sister's demonic sphinx cat, the cat that once tried to eat my rare orchids. Cold dread washes over my entire soul. The realization hits like a freight train. Riley isn't just a random match from the void. She is currently sitting in my sister's living room. She is the chaotic best friend I have heard about for years. The one who stole my limited edition chips last Thanksgiving. The one I have been avoiding because I thought she was too much. I am currently cyber flirting with a family-adjacent goblin. My face when I realize I just sent a deeply flirty joke to a snack thief. The swamp druid has entered a level of hell not found in botany books. I stare at the screen, paralyzed. Barnaby stares back. From the photo, judging my life choices, the neon-haired goddess is a local threat, panic levels reaching critical mass. I need to move to a different continent immediately, or at least hide inside my largest terrarium. How did I not see this coming? The universe is a cruel comedian. I am staring at my phone like it is a live grenade. The legendary banter just became a legal liability. I am in deep, deep trouble. I stare at the screen for 20 minutes in deafening silence. The moss in my terrarium seems to mock my lack of oxygen. My heart is a frantic bird trapped in a ribcage. I contemplate faking my own death and moving to a peat bog. Maybe I can live in a hollowed-out cedar tree in the Pacific Northwest. No. Be a man. Confront the snack-stealing goblin head-on. I take a screenshot of her photo. I draw a shaky red circle around the hairless demon on the couch. Send. Is that my sister's pink couch? I type. Also, tell Barnaby I am still mad about the orchids. The silence that follows is thick enough to grow mushrooms in. 3 minutes of the typing bubble appearing and disappearing. My palms are sweating more than a closed ecosystem in direct sunlight. Finally, the phone pings. Oh God. Oh no. Abort mission, she replies. I am currently staring at your sister across the room, she adds. She is eating Greek yogurt and talking about her CrossFit coach. I feel like a double agent in a very low-budget spy movie. We both go silent for 10 minutes. The realization settles between us like heavy silt. The legendary banter wasn't with a mysterious stranger. It was with the girl who finished my limited edition chips last November. And yet, I don't want to stop talking to her. That is the most terrifying part of this development. We cannot tell her, Riley texts. She will be terminally weird about this for the next decade. She will plan a wedding before we even finish our first cup of coffee. I agree completely. My sister has the subtlety of a flashbang. We need a peace treaty, I suggest. A neutral ground to discuss the terms of our surrender. We delete the matches in person to cleanse our souls. The coffee shop on 4th Street. Tomorrow at noon. Don't wear the neon hair if you're trying to be stealthy, I joke. You're dead, Moss boy, she fires back. I put my phone face down on the table. I am actually nervous to see her. I have seen her a dozen times at family gatherings, but I have never actually looked at her. The swamp druid is entering uncharted territory. I spend the night checking the humidity levels of my apartment. My ferns provide no comfort tonight. Only the morning brings the inevitable confrontation. Noon at 4th Street. The air smells like roasted beans and overpriced hipsters. I pick a table in the back corner, prime vantage point for a tactical retreat. My hands are steady, but my brain is a swarm of bees. The door chime rings. Riley walks in. She isn't wearing the paint-stained overalls from the family barbecue. Black denim jacket over a vintage band tee. Combat boots polished to a mirror shine. Neon hair tied back in a messy, perfect knot. She looks unreasonably cute. My internal system encounters a fatal error. She spots me and smirks, sliding into the seat across from me like she owns the place. Nice fernless look you've got going today. I tell her I left the plants in charge of the apartment. We stare at each other for a long beat. The tension is thick enough to grow orchids in. The phone sits on the table between us. The digital evidence of our crimes? Right, she sighs, the ritual. We both open the app, thumbs hovering over the delete account button. It feels like disarming a bomb. 3, 2, 1, gone. We are officially no longer a match. Silence stretches for a moment. So, about that 1970s Moog synthesizer you mentioned. Her eyes light up like a vacuum tube warming up. 2 hours vanish into the ether. We aren't talking like family friends. We're talking like two weirdos who finally found the same frequency. The coffee is cold, but the conversation is electric. She leans forward, chin resting in her hand. I actually really liked our texts, she admits. Before the horror of the pink couch. I tell her I was totally invested too. She reaches across and taps my hand with a black-nailed finger. We can't tell your sister. Not yet. She will make it her entire personality. I agree the fallout would be radioactive. So, we're doing this? I ask, strictly off the grid. She gives me a look that is both protective and predatory. Only if you can handle the heat, Moss boy. I think I can manage. Entering the danger zone. The forbidden nature of it makes my heart race. The snack-stealing goblin is now my secret partner in crime. 10 out of 10 would recommend a life of deception. 3 weeks of deep cover operations. The logistics of secret dating are complex, worth every frantic heartbeat. She brings me a 1920s apothecary jar. I rewire a death trap lamp from the 50s. Our hands meet over a soldering iron. The spark isn't just from the wires. Meet me at the trailhead at midnight, she texts. Bring your strongest bucket and a headlamp. I find her waiting by the old creek bed. The air is thick with the smell of damp earth. Are we actually trespassing? I ask. Only if we stay in one place too long, she grins. She grabs my wrist and pulls me into the brush. Her lead is confident and steady. We're hunting for smooth river stones with quartz veins. Essential landscaping for my new moss project. Flashlight beams cut through the heavy dark. She points to a cluster of perfect basalt rocks. You've got a talent for finding the good stuff, I say. I always find exactly what I want, she replies. She holds my gaze for a second too long. My internal temperature spikes despite the night air. Suddenly, a wet, heavy squelch. Riley loses her footing on a patch of slick clay. She slides straight into a shallow mud puddle. I lunge forward to catch her. Too late. I expect her to be annoyed. Instead, she starts laughing like a maniac. A bright, unhinged sound that fills the woods. She looks like a neon-haired swamp spirit. Stop staring and help me up, Moss Boy. I haul her back to solid ground. She doesn't let go of my hand. She reaches out and wipes a streak of mud on my jacket. Now you look like you belong with me, she whispers. I should be worried about the dry cleaning bill. I can't stop looking at her eyes. She leans in and kisses my cheek. You're doing great, she says softly. 3 a.m. at the neon-lit diner down the road. 2 plates of pancakes and a lake of coffee. We are covered in mud and looking like lunatics. She's explaining the history of Victorian mourning jewelry. I'm realizing I would follow her into any mud pit. The swamp druid has been well and truly captured. The chaos gremlin is the best thing that ever happened to me. 10 out of 10 would trespass again. Back at the sanctuary with our muddy treasures. The 50-gallon tank sits like a glass altar in the center of the room. Riley is meticulously placing tiny gargoyles around a bonsai tree. Her fingers are stained with soil and copper. She looks at home among my ferns. I'm adjusting the humidity sensors. My hands are steady, but my mind is racing. The apartment feels smaller and warmer with her in it. Suddenly, the distinct metallic jingle of keys. My sister's spare key turning in the lock. Panic hits me like a physical blow. She wasn't supposed to be back from her hike until tomorrow. Into the closet, I hiss. Riley doesn't hesitate. She grabs her bag and vanishes into the coats. She pulls the door shut just as the front door swings open. My sister walks in, yapping into her phone. She hangs up and looks at me. You look like you're about to have a stroke, she says. I tell her I'm just deep in a moss-induced trance. She rolls her eyes and heads for the laundry room. I need to borrow some detergent, she calls out. My heart is a drum in my ears. I stand between her and the hallway closet. She comes back out, clutching a bottle of Tide. She stops suddenly. Her gaze locks onto the floor by the couch. A single, neon-pink combat boot sits in the light. It's glaringly obvious. It's a loud punk rock siren in my quiet apartment. What on earth is that? She asks. She points at the boot with a look of pure confusion. I scramble for a lie. It's for the new terrarium, I say. Avant-garde landscaping. I'm going to grow rare liverwort inside of it. She looks at the boot, then back at me. Since when do you care about fashion waste art? I tell her the juxtaposition of industrial leather and soft moss is a metaphor. She stares at me like I've finally lost my last marble. You're becoming a very strange man, she sighs. She walks past the closet, inches away from Riley. My lungs are burning from holding my breath. See you Sunday, she says, heading for the exit. The door finally clicks shut. I listen to her footsteps fade down the hall. I collapse against the wall. The closet door slowly creaks open. Riley's face emerges from between 2 winter coats. She is grinning like she just got away with a bank heist. Riley stumbles out from between the heavy winter coats. She is doubled over, clutching her stomach. The laughter starts as a wheeze and turns into a riot. Avant-garde landscaping, she gasps. I sink onto the couch and bury my face in my hands. I panicked. It was the only thing I could think of. She drops down next to me, still shaking with mirth. The liverwort metaphor was a nice touch, Moss Boy. The adrenaline begins to drain out of the room. A heavy, comfortable silence takes its place. We sit close enough to feel the heat radiating off each other. Riley's laughter fades into a small, thoughtful smile. She leans her head back against the cushion. I thought for sure we were dead, she whispers. I look at her, really look at her. There's a smudge of black grease on her cheek from the closet hinge. She catches me staring and doesn't look away. Her expression shifts, becoming uncharacteristically soft. "You didn't throw me under the bus," she says. Most guys would have folded the second she saw the boot. I tell her I take my secret alliances very seriously. She goes quiet, picking at a loose thread on her jeans. Usually, people just find my whole deal exhausting. I'm the girl who is too much, or just a weird phase. She admits she is used to being ghosted once the novelty wears off. Hearing that feels like a physical punch to the gut. A surge of protective rage flares up in my chest. I tell her those guys are idiots who wouldn't know a rare find if it hit them. "You aren't a phase, Riley. You're the most interesting ecosystem I've ever encountered." She looks up, searching my eyes for any hint of a joke. She finds none. A slow, genuine warmth spreads across her face. She leans her head on my shoulder. Her hair smells like ozone and the damp forest floor. "You're a weirdly good guy, you know that?" I tell her I'm just a man who appreciates a high-quality lamp. She shifts, turning her face toward mine. The space between us vanishes. She closes the gap with a soft, steady confidence. Our first kiss is a collision of two very strange worlds. It tastes like cold coffee and smells like vintage dust. It is better than any rare botanical discovery I've ever made. My heart rate hits a record-breaking high. Internal systems failing. Emotional overload in progress. I am well and truly lost in the thicket. 10 out of 10 would hide her in a closet again. 2 months of shadows and whispers. The logistics of love are harder than managing a warehouse. Every shared look in public feels like a heist. Every text message is an encrypted secret. The exhaustion is finally setting in. My apartment is now a hybrid of ferns and filament bulbs. Riley is currently soldering a brass base on my coffee table. She stops and looks at me with those neon eyes. "We can't keep doing the closet thing," she says. I agree. My nerves are frayed like a bad extension cord. Time to face the final boss. My sister. The reveal strategy takes 3 hours of intense planning. We map out the conversation like a military operation. Sunday night, dinner at my place. Riley suggests the casual drop method. I prefer the direct confrontation approach. We settle on a middle ground involving heavy carbohydrates. I spend all afternoon making her favorite carbonara. The smell of garlic and bacon is my tactical advantage. Riley arrives early to help. She's wearing a dress that makes my brain short-circuit. She sees me staring and smirks. "Eyes up here, Moss boy. We have a mission." She grabs my hand and gives it a firm, grounding squeeze. "Don't let her see you sweat," she whispers. "I've got you." The door chime rings. The target has arrived. My sister walks in, sniffing the air like a bloodhound. "Is that actual food or did a plant die?" she asks. I tell her to sit down and stop being a menace. Riley is sitting next to me, vibrating with kinetic energy. She looks like she's ready to either fight or flee. The pasta is served. The silence is a physical weight. My sister is rambling about her latest CrossFit drama. I look at Riley. She nods once. The signal. I clear my throat, the sound like a gunshot in the small room. "So, about that pink combat boot from last month," I start. My sister stops chewing mid-bite. She looks at me, then at Riley. Riley reaches over and interlaces her fingers with mine. She doesn't flinch. She is the anchor. "We've been seeing each other," I say, "properly dating, for 2 months." The words hang in the air like a storm cloud. I brace for the impact. I expect the screaming, the teasing, the absolute chaos. Riley leans into me, warm and protective. My sister just stares at us. She takes a slow, deliberate sip of her wine. Sister sets the wine glass down with a soft click. The silence stretches, thick and heavy. Riley's grip on my hand is like a vice. I wait for the scream. I wait for the lecture. "About damn time," my sister says. She reaches for another forkful of pasta. I blink, my brain failing to process the lack of impact. "You aren't mad?" I manage to ask. She rolls her eyes so hard I hear the click. "I've known for 6 weeks, you absolute morons." Riley's jaw drops. "How?" she asks, her voice a mix of shock and amusement. Sister pulls her phone from her pocket. She taps the screen and slides it across the table. It's Riley's Instagram post from the Creek heist, a photo of a basalt rock sitting on a familiar fabric. my distinctive moss-stained work jacket. You're a logistics manager who can't hide a literal neon sign, Sister scoffs. And the avant-garde boot? Give me some credit, bro. The tension in my chest snaps like a dry twig. Riley lets out a sharp, jagged laugh. She leans into my side, her warmth grounding me. I told you that jacket was a tactical liability, she whispers. I feel like a fool, but a very relieved one. Sister points her fork directly at my chest. Listen to me, Moss Man. She's my best friend. If you mess this up, I will bury you in your own mulch. No one will find the body. She isn't smiling. Riley beams, her neon hair shimmering under the warm bulbs. He's not going anywhere, Riley says, her voice firm. She looks at me with that protective, proprietary gaze. She's the anchor in this weird, beautiful storm. Sister finally grins and reaches across the table. She squeezes Riley's hand. Good. I was tired of pretending I didn't see your car outside. The weight of 2 months of lies evaporates. The apartment feels lighter. The air is no longer charged with the threat of discovery. No more hiding in closets. No more frantic lies about art metaphors. We finish the meal as a trio. Riley keeps her hand on my knee the entire time. Every look she gives me is a victory. The secret is dead. The reality is much better. 10 out of 10 would fail at stealth again. 6 months into the official gremlin era. The apartment is a masterpiece of clashing aesthetics. Lush green moss forests meet jagged copper wiring. Every corner glows with the warmth of a cursed vintage bulb. My logistics job is still boring, but coming home is an adventure. I find a stray soldering iron next to my spray bottle. A neon pink scrunchie sits on my humidity sensor. The chaos has a rhythm now. My sister kicks the door open without knocking. She carries a stack of board games and a box of donuts. She doesn't even look for laundry detergent anymore. She just makes herself at home on the couch. Riley is already on the floor. She is wearing her paint-splattered overalls. Her neon hair is tucked behind her ears. She's meticulously painting a tiny wizard for my new 50-gallon tank. The wizard has a mossy beard and a defiant look. It looks exactly like you, she laughs. I tell her the wizard is far more handsome. She pulls me down to the floor next to her. Her hand rests on my neck, steady and warm. You're doing great, Moss Boy. My sister throws a donut at my head. Stop being sentimental and roll the dice, she demands. The night disappears into laughter and competitive strategy. No more secrets, no more hiding in closets, just the three of us being weird in the light. I look at the ecosystem we've built together. It's humid, it's chaotic, and it's perfectly balanced. Who knew a digital hellscape could produce something this real? I caught a snack thief, and she ended up stealing my heart too. She leans her head against my shoulder. She smells like acrylic paint and expensive solder. The greatest plot twist of my life, matching with the girl already eating my chips. 10 out of 10 would swipe right on a family disaster again. I am no longer a hermit crab in a lonely shell. I am exactly where I need to be. Finally found the perfect player, two for my strange little world.